This is Mastering Your Wealth with David Gagnon, the podcast.
You remember back in the day, those old cartoons? One of my favorite was, the Wile E. Coyote. You remember him?
Oh, I used to watch him all the time. That was a great cartoon, and I think there's some reruns out there today.
Yeah, a few of them on some channels. And, it always ended the same, right? I mean, he was always, running into walls. I mean, just being crazy. It always ended the same, but we always tuned in. Well, there was an article that says the stock market is headed for what they're calling a Wile E. Coyote moment. And that's when the coyote goes off the cliff. He hangs in midair just for a second, and then all of a sudden plunges to the bottom. And the article pointed out that the coyote always seems to come back to fight another day. The question is, will you? David, is it hard for you to convince your clients not to chase the roadrunner of a high market return with the risk of just falling off the cliff there?
That's a great analogy. I mean, we talk about this with our clients all the time. And when the markets are hitting all-time highs where we're at, you're more vulnerable to a big correction. And it's easy to be tempted to chase returns, which is not what you want to do. What you really want to do is basically, like Wile E. Coyote, if you're not grounded in a strategy, you could suddenly find yourself free falling, right? And you don't want to have that happen to your money. So what we do is we put together a plan first. And here's the thing that we don't see enough of, or not very often. People are not working off of a plan. And if you stick to a plan that's designed around your goals and not market headlines, you're going to have better success. And we implement downside protection strategies. We use proactive institutional money management programs. We use alternative investments that are unique and different. These are the types of tools that wealthy people are using, and they're wealthy for a reason. They're getting better results because they do things differently. So instead of trying to time the market, we focus on allocating risk appropriately so you're not overexposed, and invest your portfolio in a way that's aligned with your planning objectives and solutions. So, for instance, back in 2022, I had numerous people come in because they had a bad experience in the market, not in just their equity funds, but they've lost money in their bond funds, their fixed income component, which they thought was their safe part of their portfolio. So what we did was we analyzed their investments. We looked at what their planning needs called for by doing a forecast analysis and what kind of income they needed to generate, what kind of yields they needed. And now we were able to implement these plans with more resilience against the markets and not be subject to the market volatility in a way that could derail the retirement. So these strategic plan designs are so important because you always have a backup strategy. You have airbags on your money, and you don't have to lose sleep at night not knowing whether it's going to all work out. So the planning is key, and you never want to invest your money anywhere unless you're making your decisions based off the details of a plan analysis, because that'll identify to us how your money should be invested in all kinds of different things and strategies.
David, we often talk about the need to put money in a separate emergency fund in case of unexpected needs come up. So the question is always, well, how much cash should I save? Here's personal finance guru Susie Orman on her Women and Money podcast.
When you go to take money out at a time when the markets have crashed, rather than touching stocks and mutual funds and ETFs and or bonds that have gone down considerably, you go to your cash reserves to withdraw it. Why 3 to 5 years? Because normally it will take from the top of the stock market to the bottom of the stock market, back up to the top of the stock market again for things to return, usually anywhere from 3 to 5 years. So if you really want to be on the safe side, it's 5 years.
She says 5 years? I mean, that seems like a really long time, Dave.
Yeah, 5 years might be extreme for most people. But what I recommend for pre-retirees is about 6 to 12 months of expenses in liquid, accessible resources such as a cash savings or money market account. Because, when you're working, you can, have less saved for a shorter duration of liquidity. But for retirees, what we want to do is create a safety bucket in their income planning. So usually within 2 to 3 years of essential spending expenses, we have that covered. So you're not subject to the market fluctuations and relying on that type of money. Because when you're in your distribution phase, and if you're relying on money coming out of a market sensitive account and it's going down in value, you have to sell more shares. And it's going to put a lot more pressure on your portfolio's performance to recover all that in the essence of long-term planning. And this could derail your retirement down the road prematurely, and basically you're killing the goose that's laying the golden egg slowly. I always refer to that because people kind of understand when we're trying to educate them on their income planning why their investments have to be in income-generating areas with good yields and cash flow, and that usually frees up other portion of their portfolio for long-range planning opportunities. So, the strategy that we use, helps clients in very volatile and down markets, and they can ride out the market downturn without making panic withdrawals, and that's what happens, And the key to the game of planning is find a place of planning, stability, clarity, using the right tools, so we can get to the area of peace of mind for people, because there's too many people with financial anxiety because they're going blindly into the future with their money and their retirement. And with a plan, it makes it so easy, and using tools that are different than what they're usually accustomed to. So it's what you don't know that hurts you more than what you do know. And so we want people to know more so they don't run into things that catch them off guard that they didn't see coming. So if you're listening and you don't feel you have the clarity you need to make the best decisions rationally and logically going forward, give us a call. Let us provide some clarity to you on what you're presently doing, and then possibly identify some problems that might lie ahead to offer better solutions and a strategic plan that works out to your advantage.
Now, David, a lot of folks look at our economy, they look at our politics right now, our country, and they say, I need to make some serious moves here, whether they are on the cusp of retiring or maybe it's 10 years in the future. So they're looking for someone they can trust. They're looking for somebody that is going to, be patient with them and educate them. And let's be honest, there's a lot of folks out there that say they're the best. But I want to know from you, from the horse's mouth here, what makes you better than those other big guys out there, better than the big names we all see on television? Why should folks come in and sit down with you and put your 40 years of experience to work for them?
So when we sit down with folks, we want to get a good, clear handle and picture of what you're presently doing. And that's why we offer the comprehensive forecast analysis. And we also do a portfolio analysis alongside that. We want to see what you're missing out on and what you need to create that you're not on path to creating as far as how your investments are aligned. And also the big area of what we want to take a look at are the other areas of your moving parts of your financial plan that could cost you money because you're not making the best decisions to optimize those resources, whether it's your Social Security, your pension, your taxes, your out-of-pocket health care, your estate plan. So these are things that people don't seem to be getting the help they need and build it into an integrated, coordinated, strategic plan design. The focus seems to mostly be in the area of investments, selling you investments and annuities. Now, granted, you have to put your money in these types of resources and tools to make it work for you and create value and benefits. But you need to make sure you're aligned with your money in the right areas that do align with your long-range planning goals. And so we find that people are really out of balance in how they're investing their money and not aligned. And so when we are able to spend time with folks, and we always educate first, we validate what they're doing, we show them what the alternative solutions are, and compare the two together and show them if there's value being created by a better planning approach, and the value could be reducing taxes in your lifetime. I can't remember how many people we've saved 7 figures in taxes in their lifetime because we did strategic, forward-looking tax planning strategies. So there's a lot of value if we're creating that value in other areas that you might be losing money unexpectedly. These are wealth transfers that might be occurring that we help you avoid. And so comprehensive planning is much different than selling you an investment or an annuity. And that's not what we do. I mean, we do that to implement strategies, but we have to identify and structure the plan and fund it accordingly.
To remind our listeners, David, you've been doing this for nearly 40 years. So I always tell each and every single one of you, come in and let him put his nearly 4 decades of experience to work for you, right? So when your car's broke down, you go to that, that mechanic that's been doing it for years. You want to talk to somebody about your money that's been doing this for years. David is your guy, 203-872-0009. Many of us agonize over when they should retire. Do I do it now? Do I do it later? You go back and forth, right? Well, meet Terry Multek of Chicago. She commutes nearly 2 hours daily to work, and bottom line, she says she is just over it.
I'm just tired. I'm just stinking tired, and there are days when I just wonder, how much more can I do? I mean, I'm not retirement age yet, so still got to crank it out. But man, there are days when I just go, can I do it now? Can I just call it a day?
And I think a lot of folks are hitting that spot right now. Can I just call it a day? Whether it's your commute, whether it's just you're just over it, you have a boss you don't like your job. A lot of folks are battling with that. And it sounds like Terry really just might be ready to retire early. I know you've had clients who have faced this same thing here. When they bring this up, how does that conversation go?
Well, it's an emotional decision, obviously, for a lot of people, and they're reaching out to us in many cases because they're not sure if they're financially ready. And we're working on actually a couple of client situations now where they want to kind of investigate whether they can retire early or not. And there's a couple of these that we've done plans for a couple of years back, and all of a sudden they had a change of heart about working to the age we had first planned for. So we're backing up. We're going to see if we can make it all work, and in some cases we're able to do it without a big problem. But a lot of people really need to take a look at the numbers first and see if their retirement can be laid out financially and can realistically last 30 plus years possibly, because managing cash flow and creating income for 30 plus years, unless you think that's an unrealistic timeline, when you adjust your numbers into the future with inflation and taxes and possibly out-of-pocket health care, you really want to work off of a plan that is stress tested to see if it's all going to work at different levels of inflation and taxes and some of the things that can come along the way to blindside you that could be a big cash drain. So, we account for health insurance costs, lower Social Security benefits, because we've seen in the news quite often that there could be a cut in your Social Security benefits in around 2033, 34. Mm-hmm. We want to make sure that they can, get through that if that were to occur. We have a client in her early 60s right now, and she's completely burnt out. And we started working with her a few months back, and we built a bridge strategy that she wasn't quite ready or wasn't financially ready to retire full time. But we worked out a plan where if she worked and she was self-employed, if she did some part-time consulting for 2 years, delayed her Social Security, and we implemented we restructured her savings plans and her 401k plans so that we were able to increase her yields, lower her risk, and have some tactical strategies that would kick in when she retired for income planning. We were able to make it work. And so now, she's going to be retiring soon. She's less stressed. She's really happy she didn't just jump without a plan, because when you go into retirement blindly, and there's a lot of things that could bite you financially that you don't see coming. That's why we get a lot of calls from folks that are a few years from retirement. The sooner that people call us, I don't care if you're 10 years from retirement, if we can find better solutions today and avoid costly mistakes that might occur in your blind spot, you're just going to get better results if those planning strategies that can give you better results are implemented earlier and compounding over time longer, because you're just going to have more income and more tax efficiency. Especially with the younger folks, we can employ some great tax planning strategies so they don't get caught in the corner when it's too late to unravel their tax or lack of a tax plan and pay unnecessary taxes in retirement. But you don't want emotions to make your retirement decisions, especially a decision like this. Because if you actually leave employment and you find out 5 years later or longer that it's not working out because you retired too young, it's tough to get back into the workforce at the level of earnings and benefits you might have had previously. And so the best balance or the best place to be for a good relaxing in retirement is you're emotionally ready and you're financially ready. If those can come together, then it's a much better path forward. And, people just seem to enjoy retirement when you have those two come together.
For more details or to sit down with David for your complimentary financial GPS, visit masteringyourwealthradio.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, LLC, BWA, a registered investment advisor and an affiliate of Brookstone Capital Management, LLC. BWA and First Financial Planners are independent of each other. Insurance products and services are not offered through BWA, but are offered and sold through individually licensed and appointed agents.
Information provided is not intended as tax or legal advice and should not be relied on as such. You are encouraged to seek tax or legal advice from an independent professional.
Any comments regarding safe and secure products and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to securities or investment advisory products. Fixed insurance and annuity product guarantees are subject to the claims-paying ability of the issuing company and are not offered by Brookstone.
David Gagnon and First Financial Planners are not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency.
Registered investment advisors and investment advisor representatives act as fiduciaries for all of our investment management clients. We have an obligation to act in the best interests of our clients and to make full disclosure of any conflicts of interest. Please refer to our firm brochure, the ADV 2A Item 4, for additional information.